Full Disclosure, when you need to know the news behind the news.
This is not a show that is based on personalities. It's based on hard news, which there's less and less of. And so people gain insight, understanding of the true issues that impact their lives.
Regular news media doesn't go into in-depth discussions, doesn't get to the real players that are involved in the issues. Many times they have pundits and political people talking about issues that they don't really know about.
One of the great values of Full Disclosure as an independent voice and an independent presentation of a variety of different views gives the public a more balanced and certainly a more objective look at a very controversial topic.
A lot of things are going to be talked about concerning important subjects, whether it's Homeland Security, whether it's selecting a chief of police, dealing with gangs or drugs, things regarding immigration. A lot of the important subject matter that in a short news interview doesn't get covered.
If you spend any time at all watching Full Disclosure, you're going to gain knowledge. And knowledge is power, and it's the power to affect your own life and the lives of the people that you care about in your community.
In a world of sound bites and incomplete reporting, one program has helped inform people in the community. From immigration to investigations on voter fraud to an in-depth look at the independent counsel, Emmy Award-winning Full Disclosure has changed the face of community television.
Well, it was my understanding that Mr. Patchett, as head of the ad hoc Belmont Task Force, did recommend indictment and the grand jury.
Well, no, he didn't.
He did not.
He did not. The grand jury was used to obtain evidence, and he did not come up with any plausible theory of criminal liability that withstood any sort of scrutiny.
I don't know why Mr. Cooley would want to misrepresent the record. The Inspector General's letters I signed, so I have personal knowledge of who we named. They were directed originally to Mr. Garcetti, but when Mr. Garcetti was defeated by Mr. Cooley, all of that information was made available. I was in the room. I saw the boxes. I saw what was available to the district attorney. I saw it on the tables in front of Mr. Cooley. All that information was there. Why he would make those statements, I don't understand.
Traditional reporter for television news, for example, needs you to talk in sound bites, and the sound bites, 5-7 seconds, 7 to 15 seconds, so that they can package it into a story of about 1 minute and 15 seconds for airtime. This program allows whoever's being interviewed to spend quality time fully addressing any question asked.
The illegal aliens that come here to California.
They're undocumented workers. They're not illegal. No human being is illegal.
Illegally.
Right.
The people that come here illegally without permission of the government, do you think they have a right to work here?
They're here because employers want them. They're here because they're the backstretch workers.
I want to know if you think they have a right to.
Irrespective of what my opinion is, the reality is that they're here.
Do you believe that we should follow the rule of law?
Absolutely.
They don't get that in-depth analysis from newspaper or other news outlets. It's the only place where you get a half hour or an hour on segments talking about major issues that impact their life and bring the right people in to talk about it.
The characterization you've made is wrong.
Oh, I'm just reading from this Inspector General's report.
Yeah. Well, let me just take 1 second to comment on that report. It's a work of fiction.
Fiction?
As is the report from the so-called Joint Legislative Audit Committee. These are works of fiction.
There are far accountability until they're the ones being held accountable. And so, we took some shots at him. We questioned his quality of work and his due professional care. And I don't blame him for being defensive, but he needs to accept personal responsibility for the legal advice he gave or didn't give and move on.
What percentage of your budget is going to be addressed to implementing and the reporting procedure and everything for the federal consent decree?
I'd not even be able to guesstimate that the overall cost is some of the figures I've seen in the hundreds of millions of dollars over the 5-year portion of it.
Have you ever been recognized by the White House? Have you ever been to a state dinner, or have they recognized the service that you've been doing in the free speech arena?
Well, there's no upside to our relationship with Larry Flynt.
It is a rule that has been long-standing with the LAPD, which they threw out during the disturbances and use the disturbances and the curfew and whatever else as an excuse to do exactly what you people seem to want to do, which is to throw people out of the country.
Full Disclosure is the news behind the news. It's a public affairs informational television program that brings the truth to the people about issues that are facing our nation, our state, and our communities that they're not getting from the regular news media.
Shows like Full Disclosure are terribly important because they give a viewing public or a reading public two sides of an issue. And I think when issues are debated in an intelligent, forceful way, they really bring to light information that people might not have gotten anyplace else.
Full Disclosure brings out the background of the issues that there are many people that would like to see covered up. Yeah, I can't think of a better way to get that information to the public than through television.
Are you not notorious?
Well, I don't decide whether or not I'm notorious. You do.
Okay.
But I've never criticized a state court judge, and I've never been held in contempt of court, and for somebody to say that about me is defamatory.
Would you ever compare yourself with somebody, let's say, like a Johnny Cochran or a William Kunstler?
I despise that motherfucker Cochran. I think he's dishonest intellectually and in every other way, and I'm sorry I even spoke his name.
You can't solve any problems without the truth. You can't have an understanding of what the problem is unless you know the truth about what's going on. And so many times in the media, you only hear spin, and in the newspapers, they write with a slant. So it's important that people get to hear the truth coming from the mouths of the players themselves.
The public often doesn't understand the background of some of the things that they see on television or read in the newspapers every day because they get only a kind of a snapshot of what's going on.
They don't get that in-depth analysis from newspaper or other news outlets. It's the only place where you get a half hour or an hour on segments talking about major issues that impact their lives and bring the right people in to talk about it.
On the Full Disclosure program, we ask the questions, and we probe, and we explore. But we're not trying to convince. We're seeking information.
Emmy Award-winning Full Disclosure. If it's important enough to talk about, it's important enough to show you who said it. Check local listings for airtimes and channels in your area.